Hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Quarantine Report. Now today we're going to ask a very important question, and that's, who can we trust? No, not you, not me, but who? The WHO, the World Health Organization, as they've come to the front and center of this crisis. Now, in theory, this should be the WHO's chance to shine. A pandemic, an epidemic, disease is what they're made for. They are there to stop or to help the world when situations like this arise. But when it comes to their reaction to this crisis, the term "you had one job" comes to mind. All you had to do was not be corrupt, warn people of the dangers, and give impartial and sensible recommendations as to how to move forward. And they did none of that. None at all. When the outbreak first came, what did they do? Nothing. They weren't there. It took them 2 weeks just to go to Wuhan, by which point a lot of the damage had already been caused. Now, a lot of the criticism has been particularly focused on the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom. He is the Director General from Ethiopia, and what he has done is exactly what China has wanted him to do. He has been an effective, it's hard to say whether he's been a tool of the Communist Party or just a useful idiot who's gone along for the ride. Because what he has done is praise their response to it. The response that allowed this pandemic to be unleashed on the world, he has praised their response as meaningful, efficient, and don't laugh, even transparent. He even said that China was setting a new standard for the outbreak of a disease. And by saying that, he didn't mean a terrible standard, a standard that no one else should follow or it would lead to the global crisis we have now. He meant a positive standard. What he was doing by saying this and all his other praiseworthy things of the Communist Party was saving China's reputation. He said that no country should put on travel restrictions, which, as we all know, is essential when trying to control a disease, that people are not allowed to go around the world. Now, fortunately, most national governments ignored him completely and put their own restrictions on. Now, what this has exposed is the undue influence China has in the World Health Organization. Now, I think we all remember that the declaration of the term pandemic, now this is very serious, when it actually is formally declared a pandemic, it changes the game completely, because there are outbreaks of viruses and diseases all the time. As we talked about in the last episode, you have Ebola, you have Zika, you have MERS, you name it, there's lots of them. But they don't become pandemics because they haven't spread far and wide the way Wuhan coronavirus has. And so that declaration of the pandemic was hugely important, and it came far too late. And why did it come so late? It was because Tedros and his friends at the WHO were trying to save China's face. They were trying to prevent economic damage specifically to China and their reputation. Now, Tedros Adhanom is one of two things. He's either stupid or a liar. Now, let's run with the first one, that he's stupid. It reminds me of the good old In-Betweeners and the characters Jay and Neil. Now, for those of you who don't remember or don't know, Jay is the bullshitter. Everything he said, everything that comes out of his mouth is rubbish. And he does it to protect his own ego, make himself feel bigger than he is. And Neil is the simpleton, the naive one who goes along with everything he says and is amazed at everything. And now imagine China to be Jay, the bullshitter, and the World Health Organization to be Neil, the naive fool. And I imagine their conversation would look something like this. Coronavirus? Completed it, mate. Really? But what about all the death and suffering that's going on? Nah, they're just faking. They're trying to get a day off work. Oh, makes sense. I'll let the world know everything's fine. It's sad to see that an organisation dedicated to the wealth of our planet can't rise above petty politics and personal interests to serve the greater good at a time of global crisis. However, fortunately, the scientific advisors who have been advising the governments in most Western countries, that being the US, Britain, and many of the EU countries, have been, whilst not perfect, have been pure in their intentions in that they're trying to do the best for the country and the world at large. It's important to remember this corruption that takes place on both the international and the national level when looking at statistics about the Wuhan coronavirus. If you see numbers that suggest that there are less cases now than there were before in countries like China and Iran or other dictatorships, be very sceptical, and know that they have a vested interest in saving their own face, saving their own image, and distorting the image for the rest of the world. I'd like to conclude today on an in-betweeners themed note, as we are all stuck in the house with people who mostly we love, but can be annoyed by, and most importantly, cannot escape. I'd like to repeat the immortal words of Mr. Gilbert when the in-betweeners left school, which was, "Try not to kill anyone, it reflects very badly on all of us." So don't forget to elbow the like button, subscribe, comment, ask questions. I'm ready and willing to answer, and I'd love to hear what you've all got to say.